Greetings, weary wanderer, and welcome to the dozing historian, where ancient tales unfold to cradle you toward sleep. Picture yourself in the scorching sands of Egypt, circa 2500 BCE, waking in a mudbrick hut by the Nile's muddy banks. A servant to the Pharaoh, a living god, your life a grueling cycle of labor, hunger, and obedience under his divine shadow. This is a story of sweat, sacrifice, and fleeting resilience, told softly to ease you into dream. Before we begin, share where you're listening from and what hour it is. Drop a comment to join our quiet circle of history lovers. If these tales soothe your night, a like or subscribe keeps our fireside glowing. Now, let the modern world fade as we step into the ancient world, where the sun burns fiercely, the Nile whispers secrets, and every day as a servant is a battle to survive. The dawn spills over the Nile, a golden thread weaving through the muddy waters that lap against the banks of a small workers' village near Memphis, circa 2500 BCE, in the heart of Egypt's Old Kingdom. You stir on a woven reed mat laid across the packed dirt floor of a low mud-brick hut, the air heavy with the earthy scent of river silt, the faint musk of goats tethered outside, and the lingering trace of smoke from a fire now reduced to ash. The hut is cramped, its walls rough with sun-baked mud, patched to fend off the desert wind that carries fine grains of sand. You're a servant to the Pharaoh, a living god whose divine will shapes every facet of your existence, your days filled with grueling labor to build his monuments, tend his fields, or serve his household. The world outside is waking, but for you, there's no rest inly, the relentless rhythm of survival in a society where your life is as expendable as the clay beneath your feet. Your bed is simple, a thin mat shared with others, perhaps a spouse, children, or fellow laborers, their breaths soft in the dimness of the pre-dawn light. The hut's walls, reinforced with straw and mud, are cool to the touch but offer little comfort, their surfaces cracked from the unrelenting heat of past days. A narrow slit in the wall serves as a window, letting in a faint glow that paints the dirt floor with shadows. The roof, a lattice of palm fronds sealed with dried mud, sags under the weight of time, shedding dust with every gust. Your few possessions, clay jar for water, a wooden bowl, a worn linen cloth that doubles as blanket and cloak rest in a corner, guarded against the rare but real threat of theft. A small shrine to Base, the protector god, sits in a niche, its crude carving a silent plea for safety in a life that offers none. You rise, your body aching from yesterday's toil, whether it was hauling limestone blocks for the Pharaoh's pyramid or kneading dough for the palace kitchens. Your clothes are sparse. For men, a linen kilt, its edges frayed and stained with sweat. For women, a sleeveless dress, long and loose, its hem caked with dust from the fields or work sites. Sandals, if you're fortunate, are woven from papyrus, their soles thin against the rocky paths, but many go barefoot, their feet calloused and cracked from the sun-baked earth. You splash your face with water from the clay jar, its contents drawn from the Nile and murky with sediment, the only drink you'll have until the evening's beer. The water is tepid, tasting of earth, but you've grown used to its grit, swallowing carefully to avoid the worst of the silt. Breakfast is a hurried affair, shared with those in the hut, a chunk of coarse emmer wheat bread baked hard to last. Days sits beside a bowl of thin porridge made from barley and wild herbs nettles, or fennel, gathered from the riverbank. The bread grinds against your teeth, its flour mixed with bits of husk and stone, wearing down your enamel over time. Beer, weak and cloudy, is the staple here, safer than the river's water. Its bitter taste, a familiar start to the day. You break the bread with your family, if you have one, or with fellow workers, their faces etched with the same quiet resignation. The children eat first, their small hands clutching the bowl, their eyes wide with hunger that never fully fades. The meal is scant, barely enough to fuel the long hours ahead, and the memory of lean years when locusts or drought stole the harvest lingers, a reminder that hunger is a constant shadow. Stepping outside, the village unfolds around you, a cluster of mud-brick huts huddled near the Nile's fertile banks. The river is the lifeblood of this world, its waters feeding the fields of barley and emmer. Its fish, a rare supplement to your diet, its reeds and clay the materials of your home. Beyond the village, the desert stretches, its golden sands, a stark contrast to the lush green of the floodplain, while the distant silhouette of the Pharaoh's pyramid rises like a mountain, a testament to his divine power and your endless labor. The air is warm even at dawn, carrying the rich scent of wet mud, the sharp tang of fish drying on racks, and the faint sweetness of date palms swaying in the breeze. The sounds are a chorus of survival, women pounding grain with stone pestles, their rhythmic thuds echoing, men calling to oxen as they yoke them for the fields, children laughing as they chase a hoop through the dust, their joy a fleeting defiance of hardship. This is ancient Egypt, a land where the Pharaoh is both king and God, his will enforced by priests, nobles, and overseers who see you as little more than a tool. You're likely a servant, perhaps born into this life, the child of laborers who toiled for the same Lord. Or you might be a captive, taken in a raid from Nubia or the Levant. Your freedom traded for survival in the Pharaoh's service. The social hierarchy is unyielding, a pyramid as solid as the one you helped build. At its apex is the Pharaoh, divine and untouchable, his palace a world of gold and incense you'll never see. Below him are nobles and priests, their lives cushioned by your labor, their authority absolute. You're near the bottom, a servant, or perhaps a slave. Your days owned by the estate, whether it's the Pharaoh's directly or one of his vassals. Freemen exist, farmers with small plots, but even they bow to the same system, their crops taxed, their labor conscripted for the king's projects. Your work defines you, a relentless cycle tied to the Nile's seasons. In the inundation months, when the river floods, you labor on the Pharaoh's monuments, hauling stones or mixing mortar under the sun's unyielding gaze. When the waters recede, you might work the fields, sowing and reaping barley or flax, your hands blistered from the sickle's grip. Women often toil in the household, grinding grain into flour, weaving linen, or brewing beer, their labor as vital as the men's, but valued less. The overseers are ever present, their whips coiled, but ready, their eyes sharp for any sign of slacking. A day's work might last from dawn to dusk, 12 hours or more, with only a brief pause for bread and water under a palm's scant shade. The Pharaoh's projects, pyramids, temples, canals are monuments to eternity, but they're built on your sweat, your pain, your fleeting life. The system that binds you is both divine and earthly, a blend of religion and power that leaves no room for defiance. The Pharaoh is the son of Ra, the sun god, his every act a reflection of cosmic order or math. To serve him is to serve the gods, but the gods offer little in return. Priests, clad in white linen, demand offerings, grain, beer, or labor for the temples, their rituals, ensuring the Nile's flood and the sun's rise. You attend these rites when you can, bowing before statues of Amun or Osiris. Your prayers whispered for health or a good harvest, but the gods feel distant, their favor reserved for those with gold. The overseers enforce mat on earth, their authority backed by the Pharaoh's divine right. Their punishments swift a lash for a dropped tool, a fine for a missed day, or worse, a beating that leaves you limping but still expected to work. Survival is a daily negotiation, your body and spirit tested by the land and its demands. Food is scarce, your rations of bread and beer barely enough to sustain you. Onions, garlic, or dried fish are rare treats shared on festival days when the Pharaoh's generosity allows. Malnutrition is common, your frame thin, your teeth worn from gritty bread, your energy sapped by the heat. The Nile's water, vital but unclean, carries disease, fevers, fluxes, worms that weaken you from within. Fleas and lice thrive in your hut, their bites a constant irritation, and the dust of the fields clogs your lungs, each cough a warning of worse to come. Injuries are frequent cuts from tools, bruises from stones, backs strained from carrying loads too heavy for one person. Healers, often priests or village elders, offer herbs or incantations, but their cures are as likely to harm as help, their chants drowned out by your pain. The village is a community, but a fragile one, bound by shared hardship more than love. Neighbors help when they can, sharing a loaf. Watching a child, but survival often pits you against each other. A better plot of land, a lighter task, a scrap of favor from the overseer. These are fought for with quiet rivalries, whispered grudges. Men hold more power, their work in the fields or on the pyramids seen as vital, while women's labor, weaving, birthing, is dismissed, though it keeps the village alive. Children are both a blessing and a burden, their small hands helping with tasks, but their mouths another to feed. The elderly, if they survive long, are rare, their wisdom valued, but their weakness a strain. Death is familiar, child lost to fever, a friend to a fall, their bodies wrapped in linen and buried in the desert, their graves unmarked, their names fading with the wind. The sensory world is vivid, grounding you in this life. The air smells of wet earth, fish, and the faint sweetness of dates ripening nearby. The Nile's waters shimmer, its surface alive with ripples, while the desert beyond glows gold under the rising sun. The sounds are constant, the thud of pestles, the low of cattle, the chatter of women at the riverbank, washing linen. Your clothes itch, their linen coarse against your skin, and your hands sting from cuts earned in the field. Hunger is a dull throb, your stomach twisting as you work, the bread's grit lingering in your mouth. The heat is relentless, even at dawn, the sun a fiery eye that watches without mercy. Yet there are moments of beauty, heron's flight over the river, soft hum of a lullaby, the cool touch of Nile water on your feet. The vulnerability of this life is a constant hum woven into every task. Hunger stalks you, its threat sharpened by years when the Nile's flood was too low or too high, leaving fields barren or drowned. Disease waits in every sip of water, every flea's bite, every crowded hut. The overseer's whips are a reminder of your place, their punishments attacks on your survival. Death is ever-present, children buried, workers crushed by falling stones, women lost in childbirth. The desert graves grow with every season. You pray to Base, to Hathor, to the Pharaoh himself, your offerings of bread or beer, a plea for protection. But the gods are silent, their temples gleaming while your hut crumbles. The village is your world, but it's a brutal one. Its rhythms, shaped by labor and loss, its edges fraying under the weight of a system that sees you as nothing as you step toward the river. A basket of laundry or a tool in hand, you feel the pulse of this life work. Eat, sleep, repeat. The sun climbs, its heat already fierce, and you pause to wipe sweat from your brow, your hands rough against your skin. The village hums, neighbors calling, tools clinking, the Nile's soft lap, a constant undertone. You're one of many, your life a thread in a tapestry of toil, your days owned by the Pharaoh and his gods. The whispers of a coming plague are distant, tales from traders of cities, silenced by fever, too wild to believe. But the fear is there, a faint tremor in your heart, a sense that this fragile world, harsh, unyielding, divines on the brink of something darker. For now, you work on your hands in the earth, your eyes on the river, a servant in a land where survival is a quiet miracle. The sun climbs higher over the Nile, its heat already fierce as you leave your mudbrick hut behind and make your way toward the worksite near Memphis. Grain, children chasing hoops, softening as you follow a well-worn path along the riverbank. The Nile glimmers, its waters a lifeline of mud and fertility. But today, you're bound for the Pharaoh's grand project, a pyramid that will pierce the sky, a monument to his divine eternity, built on the sweat and pain of servants like you. Your body still aches from yesterday's labor, your hands rough with calluses, your kilt or dress stained with the dust of countless days. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and drying fish, the faint sweetness of date palms giving way to the dry, gritty tang of the desert. As a servant in ancient Egypt, your life is defined by unrelenting toil under the sun god Ra's unblinking gaze, where every task hauling stones, tending fields, or serving in the palace gharries, the weight of survival and the threat of punishment. The path to the worksite is a ribbon of packed earth, winding past fields of barley and flax, their green tips swaying in the breeze. The Nile's edge is alive with activity, fishermen casting nets, women washing linen in the shallows, their chatter a soft counterpoint to the river's gentle lap. Your feet, bare or shod in flimsy papyrus sandals, kick up dust that clings to your skin, mixing with sweat as the heat intensifies. The desert looms to the west, its sands a golden sea broken by the rising skeleton of the pyramid, its limestone blocks gleaming white where they've been smoothed. The worksite is a chaotic sprawl, hundreds of laborers like you, their voices a low hum of effort, the clink of chisels and the creak of sledges blending with the shouts of overseers, falters, a reminder that your worth is measured in work, not humanity. Your task today might be at the quarry, where limestone or granite is hewn from the earth, or at the pyramid itself, where blocks are dragged into place. If you're among the field workers, you're bent over rows of emmer wheat, your sickle cutting stalks that burn your hands with their sharp edges. Women might be assigned to the palace or temple, grinding grain into flour, weaving linen, or brewing beer. Their labor hidden, but no less grueling. The quarry is a place of raw effort. You grip a wooden mallet, its handle worn smooth, and strike a copper chisel, the impact jarring your arms as stone chips fly. The blocks, some weighing as much as a cow, are loaded onto sledges, their weight crushing the sand beneath. You join a team, ropes biting into your shoulders, pulling in rhythm to a chanter's call, heave for the God King. Your muscles straining, your breath ragged in the dry air. The sun is merciless, its heat a physical weight that presses on your back, your head wrapped in a linen cloth to ward off its rays. Sweat stings your eyes, mixing with dust to form a gritty paste that cakes your skin. Water is scarce, brought in clay jars from the Nile, its surface cloudy but precious. You sip sparingly during a brief pause, the overseer's eyes sharp, allowing only moments before you're back to work. The air smells of stone dust, sweat, and the faint metallic temps of tools heated by the sun. The sounds are relentless, the thud of mallets, the scrape of stone on wood, the groans of laborers pushing against the weight of their loads. Your hands blister, the skin splitting where ropes or tools rub, and your back aches from hours of bending or pulling, each movement a small battle against exhaustion. The overseers are a constant presence, their authority absolute. They stride among you, clad in finer linen, their staffs, symbols of power, their whips a threat that needs no words. A moment's rest too long, a block dropped. Some overseers are kinder, offering a nod for good work, but most see you as tools, your value tied to the blocks you move or the grain you harvest. Punishment is swift, a beating for defiance, a fine of rations for slacking, or, for the worst, offenses, exile to the desert mines, a death sentence in all but name. You've seen men collapse under the whip, their bodies dragged away, their fate a warning to keep moving, keep working, keep silent. The labor is not just physical, but a test of endurance. At the pyramid, you might be part of a gang dragging, a block up a ramp, the sand beneath shifting, threatening to send the sledge sliding back. The ramp's incline is steep, its surface slick with dust, and the block's weight pulls against you. You chant in rhythm, the words a drone that keeps you moving, though your voice cracks from thirst. In the fields, the work is no lighter, sowing seeds in the muddy furrows left by the Nile's flood, or harvesting under the sun, your sickle flashing as you cut, your hands stained green and red from sap and blood. Women in the palace knead dough for hours, their arms aching, or carry water in heavy jars, their steps careful to avoid spilling a drop that could earn a curse from the steward. The Nile shapes this work. Aset, the inundation, when the river floods, you're sent to the quarries or pyramids, the fields too wet for planting. In Pharaoh, the growing season, you sow and tend crops, your life tied to the river's rhythm. Shemu, the harvest, is the hardest days stretch longer, the heat fiercer. The overseer's demands unrelenting as they rush to fill the granaries. The river's bounty is the Pharaoh's, not yours. Your share is a pittance, the rest claim. For his court, his temples, his tomb, you've heard of the granaries, vast and guarded, their stores enough to feed a city. But you'll never see more than your ration of bread and beer doled out at day's end, your stomach still growling. As you eat, the hierarchy of this world is etched into every moment. The Pharaoh, divine son of Ra, is a distant figure. His palace, a world of gold and incense you'll never enter. Nobles and priests, clad in fine linen, live in villas with shaded courtyards, their lives cushioned by your labor. Scribes, with their reed pens and papyrus, record your work, their status a step above yours, their hands clean while yours bleed. You're a servant, perhaps born to this life, your parents' laborers before you, or a captive from a distant land, your freedom traded for survival. Slaves, lower still, work beside you, their chains invisible but real, their eyes dull with resignation. Freemen exist, farmers with small plots, but even they bend under the same taxes, the same conscription for the Pharaoh's projects. Religion weaves through this toil, a thread of both comfort and control. The Pharaoh is the keeper of Ma'at, the cosmic order, and your labor upholds it, or so the priests say. You offer prayers to Ammon for strength, to Hathor for protection, your voice low as you work, fearing the god's wrath as much as the overseer's whip. Temples gleam in the distance, their stone walls carved with scenes of the Pharaoh's triumphs, their altars heavy with offerings you'll never taste. You attend rituals when allowed, standing at the back, your head bowed before statues of Osiris or Anubis, but the gods feel distant, their favor reserved for those with power. The priests' chants, rising over the worksite, promise eternity for the Pharaoh, but for you, eternity is the next day's labor, the next meal, your strength, the sun burning your skin despite the linen cloth tied around your head. Thirst is a companion, your lips cracked, your throat dry, the water jar too far to reach without risking a lash. Injuries are common cuts from chisels, bruises from stones, shoulders strained from pulling sledges. The Nile's water, vital but unclean, carries parasites that twist in your gut, fevers that leave you shaking. Fleas and lice thrive in your kilt, their bites a constant itch, and the dust of the quarry clogs your lungs, each cough a warning of deeper illness. Healers offer salves of honey or incantations to Sekhmet, but their cures are costly, their success uncertain, and you work through the pain, knowing rest is a luxury you can't afford. The village, from your thoughts. It's a world of shared hardship, where neighbors labor beside you, their faces etched with the same exhaustion. Men bear the heaviest loads, their strength valued. But women work just as hard, grinding grain, weaving, or carrying water. Their contributions vital but unseen. But they're also a burden, their hunger another mouth to feed. The elderly, if they survive, are few, their bodies bent from years of toil. Their wisdom a quiet guide in a world that values strength over age. Community exists, but its fragile rivalries flare over a better task, a larger ration, and trust is thin when survival is at stake. The sensory world is vivid, anchoring you in this brutal life. The air smells of stone dust, sweat, and the faint sweetness of crushed flax underfoot. The Nile shimmers, its waters alive with fish and reeds, while the desert glows under the sun. Its heat a weight on your skin, The sounds are relentless, the clink of chisels, the creak of sledges, the shouts of overseers barking orders. Your kilt itches, its linen coarse, and your hands sting from rope burns, the pain sharp with every pull. Hunger gnaws your stomach, a hollow ache, the morning's bread, a distant memory. The sun is a fiery eye, its glare unyielding, but there are moments of reprieve, a breeze from the river, the soft hum of a work song, the fleeting shade of a palm's small sparks that keep you moving. The vulnerability of this life is a quiet pulse woven into every task. Hunger threatens with every poor harvest. The Nile's flood unpredictable, its waters a blessing or a curse. Disease lurks in every sip, every bite of a flea, every crowded moment in the village. The overseer's whips are a constant reminder of your place, their punishments attacks on your survival. Death is familiar, friend crushed by a stone, a child lost to fever, their bodies buried in the desert, their graves unmarked. You pray as you work, your voice a whisper to Base or Hathor, but the gods are silent, their temples gleaming while you toil. The worksite is your world now, its rhythms of labor and pain shaping your days, its edges sharp with the threat of punishment or collapse. As the sun reaches its zenith, you pause for a moment, your hands on a rope, your breath heavy in the heat. The pyramid rises before you, its blocks a testament to the Pharaoh's power, your labor a fleeting mark on eternity. The village is a distant hum, its life waiting for your return at dusk, but the work stretches on, each block a burden, each step a defiance of exhaustion. Whispers of a strange sickness begin to circulate, tales from traders of ports silenced by fever, but they're distant, unreal against the weight of stone and sun. For now, you pull, your muscles straining, your heart beating with a quiet resolve. A servant in a land where every day is a fragile victory. Rare, their bodies bent, their wisdom a quiet guide, but their weakness a burden. The village is a community, but trust is fragile. Neighbors vie for better tasks, more rations, or the overseer's nod, their alliances strained by survival. You share bread or a song, but a whispered complaint could reach the overseer, bringing punishment on all. The sensory world anchors you in this brutal leaf. The sun blazes over the Nile's fertile valley, its heat a heavy hand as you trudge from the quarry or fields, your muscles aching from the morning's labor. It's circa 2500 BCE in the Old Kingdom's heart near Memphis, and you're a servant bound to the Pharaoh, a living god whose will shapes your every breath. The path you tread is dusty, snaking through the village's mudbrick huts toward the temple or the Pharaoh's estate, where new tasks await. The air carries the scent of sun-baked earth, the faint temps of fish drying by the river, and the subtle sweetness of crushed dates underfoot. Your kilt or dress, coarse linen soaked with sweat, clings to your skin, your hands raw from ropes or sickles. The pyramid's silhouette looms in the distance, a monument to divine power, but it's the unseen force of Matha cosmic order upheld by gods, priests, and kings that binds you tighter than any rope. In ancient Egypt, your life as a servant is ruled by a rigid hierarchy and sacred duties, where every task serves the Pharaoh's glory, and any misstep invites divine or human retribution. The village recedes behind you, its sounds softening, pestles thumping grain, men calling to oxen, children's laughter chasing through the dust. The Nile glimmers nearby, its waters a lifeline of mud and fertility. But your destination is the temple complex, or the Pharaoh's estate, where the divine and mortal worlds intertwine. The temple's limestone walls, carved with images of gods and triumphs, shimmer in the sunlight, their polished surfaces reflecting Ra's radiance. The estate, a maze of courtyards and storehouses, is no less daunting. Its gates watched by guards with spears, their gazes sharp for any hint of disobedience. Your task might be carrying water for sacred rituals, scrubbing palace floors, or hauling grain to the granary Act, a thread in the tapestry of Mat, the cosmic balance that keeps Egypt's world aligned. Mat is the soul of this society, a sacred principle ensuring the Nile's flood, the sun's rise, and the Pharaoh's eternal reign. As a servant, you're taught your labor upholds this order, your sweat an offering to the gods. Priests, their heads shaved and clad in white linen, preach this in the temple's shadow, their chants to Amen, Osiris, or Hathor, rising like smoke. You join these rituals when allowed, standing at the crowd's edge, your head bowed before towering statues, their painted eyes seeming to judge you. You offer what you cannot read, a crumb of bread, whispering prayers for health or a good harvest. But the gods feel distant, their favor reserved for the Pharaoh and his court, while you, a lowly servant, are a mere speck in their divine plan. Your life valued only for its contribution to Mat. The Pharaoh is the cornerstone of this order, a living god bridging mortal and divine. His name, perhaps Khufu, builder of the great pyramids, spoken with awe. His image etched on every wall, his will absolute. You've never seen him, only glimpsed his banners or heard his praises in priestly hymns, but his presence is inescapable. The pyramid you helped build is his path to eternity, your labor ensuring his immortality. The fields you tend feed his court, the linen you weave clothes his priests, the beer you brew quenches their thirst. Serving him is serving the gods, but the cost is your body, your time, your hope. Priests warn that defying the Pharaoh is defying Ma'at, a sin that could disrupt the Nile's flow or dim the sun. And you've seen the fate of rebels flogged, exiled, or erased from existence, their names struck from the world. The social hierarchy is as rigid as the pyramid's stone. Nobles live in shaded villas, their lives cushioned by your toil, their linen dyed bright, their tables laden with meat and fruit you'll never taste. Scribes, with reed pens and papyrus, record your work, their status a rung above yours, their hands unscarred while yours bleed. Overseers, often villagers, loyal to the elite, wield whips and staffs, their authority backed by the Pharaoh's divine right. You're a servant, perhaps born to this life, your parents' laborers before you, or a captive from Nubia or the Levant, your freedom traded for survival. Slaves toil beside you, their status lower, their eyes dulled by resignation. Freemen with small plots are rare, and even they bow under taxes and conscription, their lives scarcely freer than yours. Your task now might lead to the temple, where you carry water in clay jars, the liquid sloshing against your legs as you climb stone. Steps smoothed by countless feet. Inside, the air is cool, scented with myrrh and lotus, a stark contrast to the dusty heat outside. Priests move with precision, pouring libations, burning incense, their chants echoing off carved walls. You're invisible to them, your labor, a necessity they barely notice, your presence tolerated only while you're useful. At the palace, you might scrub floors, the stone cold under your knees, or carry baskets of grain to storehouses, their walls lined with jars of oil and wine. The work is endless. The overseer's voice, sharp, urging speed, strength, ignoring the pain in your arms or the sweat stinging your eyes. Punishment looms over every task, a tool to enforce mat and keep you in line. A spilled jar, a pause, too long, a muttered complaintee can bring the overseer's wrath. A lash across your back leaves welts that burn for days. The pain, a reminder to obey. Fines are harsher, docking your rations of bread or beer, leaving you hungrier than before. Grave offenses, stealing defiance, or damaging a sacred object bring brutal consequences. A beating that leaves you limping. Exile to the desert mines, or execution, your body left for jackals, your name erased. You've seen Itaman dragged away for hiding grain, his cries fading. A woman flogged for breaking a vessel, her face pale as she worked on. Fear keeps you moving, your eyes lowered, your hands steady despite the ache. Religion is both comfort and chain, framing every task as a divine act. Your labor upholds mat, or so the priests say, your sweat a prayer to keep the cosmos stable. You whisper to Ammon for strength, to Hathor for protection, to Base for safety. Your voice, low as you work, fearing the god's wrath as much as the overseer's whip. Small offerings read, a crumb left at your hut's shrine or the temple's edge are all you can spare. The priest's rituals, with gold and incense, are for the elite, their altars heavy with food you'll never taste. Tales of the afterlife, a field of reeds for the just, are a distant hope. Your eternity bound to the dust of this life. The priest's chants, rising over the worksite, promise eternity for the Pharaoh. But for you, eternity is the next task, the next meal, the next breath. Social constraints tighten the noose. As a servant, your voice is unheard, your life valued only for labor. Men hold more power, their work on pyramids or fields seen as vital, while women's tasks grinding grain, weaving, brewing are dismissed, though they sustain the estate. Children work young, fetching water or gleaning fields, their hands rough, their hunger a mirror of yours. The elderly, if they survive, are the air smells of dust and myrrh in the temple, sweat and grain in the fields, fish and mud by the river. The Nile shimmers, alive with reeds and fish, while the desert glows gold, its heat a constant pressure. Sounds echo the thud of pestles, creak of carts, priests' chants over the worksite. Your kilt itches, its linen coarse, your hands sting from cuts, the pain sharp with every lift. Hunger gnaws, your morning's bread and beer a fading memory, the heat sapping your strength. The sun is a fiery disk, but a breeze from the Nile. A work song's hum, or the cool touch of water, offers fleeting reprieves, small sparks that keep you going. Vulnerability pulses through every act. Hunger looms with every poor harvest. The Nile's flood, unpredictable. Disease lurks in water, fleas, or crowded huts. Overseers' whips enforce your place. Their punishments, attacks on survival. Death is familiar, friend crushed, a child. Fevered, their desert graves unmarked. You pray, your voice a whisper, but the gods' temples gleam while your hut crumbles. Rumors of a distant sickness, carried by traders, are faint, their tales of fever unreal against your daily toil. As you carry a jar up the temple steps, the sun burning, priests chanting, you feel the weight of Mat, your labor a thread in the Pharaoh's eternity. The village waits for dusk, but work stretches on each task, a burden. Each step, a quiet resolve, in a land where survival is a fragile triumph. Midday heat blankets the Nile Valley, its intensity unrelenting as you labor near Memphis. Circa 2500 BCE, a servant bound to the Pharaoh, whose divine will consumes your existence. You pause briefly, wiping sweat from your brow, your hands blistered. From dragging limestone or harvesting flax under a scorching sky, the air hums with the scent of dry earth, the faint musk of river reeds, and the distant sweetness of overripe figs trampled on the path. Your worn linen kilt or dress sticks to your skin, heavy with dust and perspiration, each movement a reminder of your body's strain. The pyramid's rising form casts a stark shadow, a monument to the Pharaoh's eternity built on your toil. But it's the hidden dangers, hunger, disease, injury, and the soul-crushing reality of your disposability that threaten to unravel you. While the divine order of Mat demands your obedience, the physical and emotional toll of servitude in ancient Egypt gnaws at your core, leaving you to navigate a world where survival is a daily defiance. Your body is a map of this brutal life, each task etching its mark. At the quarry, you wield a copper chisel, its dull edge jarring your arms as it bites into limestone, sending chips flying into the dust. The blocks, heavy as a bull, are dragged on sledges, ropes cutting into your shoulders, leaving raw welts that burn with every pull. In the fields, you bend over rows of barley, your sickle slicing through tough stalks, their sharp edges pricking your skin. The sun searing your neck despite a knotted linen cloth. Women in the palace or temple grind grain into flour, their arms aching from hours at the corn, or balance water jars on their shoulders. Each step a careful dance to avoid a spill that could earn a lash. The heat is a weight, the air shimmering, your lips cracked, your throat dry from sipping Nile water, murky with silt, but all you have. Hunger claws at you, a relentless ache in your gut. Your rations course, immer bread, thin beer, perhaps a sliver of onion or dried fishar, barely enough to keep you standing. The bread, gritty with husk and stone, grinds your teeth, each bite a reminder of scarcity. Beer, brewed from barley and faintly sweet with dates, is safer than water, but weak, its temps doing little to ease the void. The Pharaoh's granaries, towering and guarded, brim with grain, but your share is meager, handed out at dusk by an overseer who counts every loaf. A poor harvest, when the Nile's flood falters, slashes your rations, leaving you dizzy, your steps unsteady as you work. You've seen neighbors waste away, their bodies frail, their eyes sunken, and the fear of joining them pushes you to keep moving, even as hunger weakens your frame. Disease lurks in every corner, a silent threat woven into the fabric of your life. The Nile's water, essential for survival, teems with unseen dangers, parasites that twist in your stomach, causing cramps that bend you double, or fevers that leave you trembling in the night. Fleas and lice swarm your hut, your clothes, your hair, their bites itching until they fester into sores. The village's crowded quarters, where families and laborers sleep shoulder to shoulder, spread illness like wildfire. A cough becomes a plague, a child's fever, a family's loss. You've seen it, a friend, robust at dawn, now shivering, unable to rise. A child, playful yesterday, buried in the desert by nightfall. Healers offer herbs like coriander or chants to Sekhmet, but their remedies are costly, their success uncertain. And you toil through pain, knowing a pause could mean starvation. Injuries are as common as the dust that coats your skin. At the quarry, a missumed chisel gashes your hand, the wound oozing in the heat, with no clean cloth to bind it. Dragging stones strains your back, each lift a stab of pain. Yet you can't stop. Overseers' eyes are sharp, their whips ready. In the fields, a sickle's slip can cut your leg, blood mixing with mud, inviting infection. Women carrying water or grinding grain endure their own toll joints ache from repetitive strain. Fingers bleed from weaving flax. You've seen workers crushed by falling stones, their cries silenced, their bodies cleared to keep the work moving. Medical care is a distant hope. The village healer, often a priest, might offer a honey salve or prayer, but their attention favors the elite, leaving you to bind wounds with rags and pray they heal. The emotional burden is a deeper wound, carved by the knowledge of your expendability. The Pharaoh's divine status renders your life a mere tool for his glory, your labor a means to his eternal reign. Priests speak of Mat, the cosmic order your work upholds, but it feels like a shackle, chaining you to a life with no escape. You're a servant, perhaps born to this fate, your parents' laborers before you, or a captive from a distant land. Your freedom, a faded memory. Your voice is silenced. A whispered complaint risks a beating, and defiance is unthinkable. You've seen Itaman flogged for questioning an order, his back scarred. A woman exiled for stealing bread, her fate a shadow in the desert. The realization that you're nothing, your life a flicker in the Pharaoh's grand design, erodes your spirit, a slow drain on any hope of change. The village offers a fragile sense of community, a thin thread of solace in this harsh world. By firelight, you might share a tale or a quiet song with neighbors, the words a brief escape from the day's grind. Women by the river, washing linen or pounding grain, exchange murmurs of shared hardship, though caution tempers their words. Overseers, spies are never far. Men in the fields or quarry share the rhythm of work, their chants easing the load, but rivalries simmer over better tasks or extra rations. Children, when not fetching water or gleaning scraps, bring fleeting joy, their games a glimpse of a lighter world, but their hunger mirrors yours, their illnesses a constant dread. The elderly, rare and worn, share stories of past floods or God's blessings, but their frailty is a warning of your own future. If you live long enough, the hierarchy reinforces your lowliness, a constant reminder of your place. Nobles and priests dine on roasted fowl and honeyed cakes in shaded villas while you chew gritty bread. Scribes, with clean hands and papyrus, record your toil, their status a world apart. Overseers, often villagers, turned loyal to the elite, wield power with a whip's crack, their favor unattainable. Freemen with small plots fare slightly better, but even they bend under taxes. Slaves, lower still, work beside you, their eyes empty. Women bear a double load, laboring in fields or households, then tending hearths or children, their work vital but unseen. Your status, servant or slave, marks you as expendable, your life a cog in the Pharaoh's divine machine. The sensory world grounds you in this struggle. The air carries dust and sweat at the worksite, lotus and incense in the temple, mud and fish by the Nile. The river sparkles, alive with reeds and fish, while the desert shimmers, its heat a pressure on your skin. Sounds echo, the clink of chisels, the creak of sledges, the soft chants of priests. Your kilt scratches, its linen rough, your hands burn from cuts, the pain sharp with each task. Hunger twists your gut, the morning's rations, a distant memory. The sun glares, but a breeze from the Nile, a hummed work song, or the cool splash of water offers brief relief, small sparks that fuel your endurance. This life's fragility is ever present. Hunger looms with every failed flood. The Nile's whims a gamble. Disease hides in water, fleas, crowded huts, injuries risk infection, each cut a potential end. Overseers' whips enforce your place, their punishments a tax on survival. Death is closer, friend crushed, a child fevered, their desert graves unmarked. The emotional toll is heavier knowing you're a tool, your life a means to an end. Whispers of a distant sickness brought by traders are faint, their tales of fever too wild for the immediate grind of hunger and pain. Yet a quiet fear stirs, a sense that this brutal world teeters on the edge. As you lift a stone or sickle, the sun sinking, the temple's chants rising, you carry on, your breath heavy. Your resolve a faint flame, a servant in a land where survival is a daily miracle. The twilight settles over the Nile's valley, its waters reflecting a fading golden light as you trudge back to your village near Memphis. Circa 2500 BCE, your body is weary, scarred from years of hauling stones, reaping fields, or serving in the Pharaoh's household. Each step a testament to survival in a world that demanded your all. The air is cooler now, carrying the scent of damp reeds, the faint musk of cooling earth, and the distant aroma of bread baking in mudbrick ovens. Your linen kilt or dress, tattered and dust-stained, hangs heavy on your frame, your hands throbbing. From the day's labor, the pyramid stands complete in the distance, its limestone gleaming under the last rays of Ra, a monument to the Pharaoh's eternity built on your sweat and sacrifice. As the brutal life of a servant draws toward its end, we reflect on your legacy etched in stone but forgotten in Naaman, the resilience that carried you through, easing you now into a gentle close beneath the ancient Egyptian sky. Your life has been one of unrelenting toil, each day a struggle against hunger, disease, and the crushing weight of divine order. The Pharaoh, a living God, claimed your labor for his glory, his pyramids and temples rising as testaments to his immortality, while your own existence flickered like a reed in the wind. You hauled limestone under the sun's unyielding gaze, your shoulders scarred by ropes. You sowed fields of barley, your hands bloodied by sickles. You carried water for priests, your presence invisible to their sacred rites. Hunger gnawed at you, your rations of gritty bread and weak beer, never enough, the Nile's bounty reserved for the elite. Disease lurked in every sip of cloudy water, every flea's bite, and injuries from stone or tool threatened to end you. Each cut a gamble against infection. The emotional toll was heavier, still knowing you were expendable. Your life a tool for Mot, the cosmic balance that favored the Pharaoh over you. Death was a constant shadow, claiming those around you. With merciless ease, you buried neighbors, crushed by falling stones, children lost to fever, friends wasted by hunger or illness, their graves unmarked in the desert's edge. The village, a fragile community of shared hardship, offered moments of solace by firelight, songs hummed by the river, but these were fleeting, overshadowed by rivalries and fear of overseers' whips. The hierarchy kept you low, beneath nobles, priests, and scribes. Your voice silenced, your labor demanded without reward. Women bore a double burden, their work in fields or households dismissed, their strength vital but unseen. The gods, invoked in your prayers to Ammon or Hathor, remained distant, their temples gleaming with offering you could never afford, their promises of an afterlife, a faint hope against the reality of your toil. Yet your legacy endures, not in name but in the stones you raised. The pyramid, a marvel that will stand for millennia, bears the imprint of your hands, each block a piece of your life's work. Temples, their walls carved with the Pharaoh's triumphs, were cleaned by your rags, their altars fed by your grain. The fields you tended sustained a civilization, their harvests filling granaries that fed Memphis while you starved. These monuments, celebrated by history, are your silent contribution, though no scribe recorded your name, no priest sang your praise. The Pharaoh's eternity was built on your sacrifice, your days spent in the dust, your nights haunted by hunger and fear. The world remembers Khufu, his pyramid, a wonder, but you, the servant, are a shadow, your story buried in the sand. Resilience was your quiet triumph, a spark that kept you moving through the grind. Each day you rose, despite the pain in your body and the weight on your soul, was a defiance of the odds. You shared bread with a neighbor, laughed with a child, or whispered a prayer to base, finding strength in small acts. Some found escape. Rare but real, kind overseer might grant a lighter task. A freeman's marriage might offer a new path, though society's scorn lingered. Others resisted in secret, stealing a moment's rest or hiding a scrap of grain. Small rebellions against a system that owned you. The village, though fractured, held you together, women by the river, men in the fields, their shared glances, a bond stronger than the overseer's whips. These flickers of humanity, though fleeting, were your anchor, a testament to a spirit that refused to break. The world you leave behind is one of stark contrasts, grandeur built on suffering, divine order upheld by human pain. The Pharaoh's Egypt was a civilization of awe, its pyramids and temples a beacon across time, but it was forged by countless like you, your lives erased to glorify the few. The Nile still flows, its waters eternal, but the villages of your time are dust, their huts crumbled, their people forgotten. Yet your labor endures, in the stones that defy time, in the fields that fed a nation. History may not know your name, but it carries your echo, a whisper of resilience in the face of brutality. The gods you served, distant and silent, are now myths, their temples ruins. But your struggle was real. Your strength, we walk a different world, where machines ease labor and medicine heals wounds you could only endure. Laws protect the vulnerable, though imperfectly, and the divine right of kings is a memory. Yet the echoes of your life resonate in those who toil unseen, whose work builds wonders they'll never own. We pause to honor you, the nameless servant, whose hands raised a civilization, whose heart held fast against despair. Your story, though unwritten, lives in the stones, the fields, the rivers flow, a testament to the human spirit's unyielding resolve. The modern listener, nestled in their bed, can rest easier knowing your struggle paved the way for a world that strives, however falteringly, for fairness. As the stars emerge over the Nile, their light soft against the darkening sky, the village grows quiet, its fires dimming, its people retreating to their mats. The pyramid stands silent, its stones cool in the night, a monument to an era that used you and forgot you. The air carries the scent of river mud and fading warmth, the Nile's gentle lap, a lullaby for your weary soul. Your life, though brutal, was a thread in the tapestry of history. Your resilience, a spark that lights the way. Let the weight of your toil fade now, dear listener, as you sink into the embrace of dreams. The sun will rise again, but for now, rest in the peace of a story told, a legacy honored, and a night that carries you gently to slumber.